When you've beaten the game or just want to go off the beaten path a little, sometimes you do some dumb stuff in games to see what you can get away with. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 big brain experiments in video games. Obviously, big brain is being used a little sarcastically here. It's really simple what we're doing. It's just dumb and pointless stuff that you get up to when you're kind of making your own fun. From curiosities to total nonsense, let's get going. Starting off at number 10, following Grand Theft Auto NPCs, or really any NPCs in open world games. This is a fun one because there's only so much chaos you can cause in a GTA style game before you start looking for new things to do. And one of the all-time classic time wasters is following NPCs around. Rockstar are kind of masters of the NPC because they actually give them something to do. Sometimes even having them become aware that you're following them after a while. Even now, most games don't really bother to have their civilians do much outside of wandering around aimlessly, but GTA and the RDR series have gone out of their way to kind of give them a day. To be fair, some people are pretty boring, but some are a lot more interesting. But there's just something fascinating about following them around either way. It's interesting to see what's going on in a game when you're not really interacting with it. Even though a lot of the time it doesn't end up being particularly eventful, when things do get interesting, it feels like you're part of something unique. Following around random NPCs it's just fun to do. Find a homeless guy or a cop or whatever, just see what they're up to for a while. A lot of the time, that's just a lot of walking around, don't get us wrong. And following a little too closely in GTA 5 tends to just get cops called on you, but either way, it's fun. At number 9, pushing Mr. X or Lady Demetrius to the limits. Horror games can be tense and stressful and even frustrating. So sometimes it's cathartic to blow off a little steam and get one over on the unkillable stalkers that hunt you in these types of games. These enemies can give you a lot of trouble, so it's fun to see the limits of their AI and just screw with them. And yet we're focusing on the most recent Resident Evil stalkers like Mr. X and Demetrius. But you can do this in any game with annoyingly unstoppable killers like the Amnesia games. There's also Alien Isolation, whatever else you can think of. Probably the most recent example of exploiting this is the coffee table in Resident Evil 8. You hug this thing and Lady D, she can never get you. She just cannot muster the energy to take a step over this tiny piece of furniture. Another fun thing to do is just stare at Mr. X from the save room in the RE2 remake. He just stands there because it's a safe room. He can't go inside. He'll just stare at you because there's nothing else he can do. There's a lot more advanced tactics people out there have tried, like just running circles around him. It kind of deflates the whole horror aspect of them, but if you play these games enough, that's kind of going to happen anyway, so why not have a little fun? At number 8, in a lot of open world games, it is fun to see how cars explode. Your main way of getting around is oftentimes a car in these games, so you're going to spend a lot of time behind the wheel. So you might as well have a little fun with them. Every game seems to have slightly different rules about how vehicles break. In the old GTA games, cars were basically rolling bombs, so they were easy to blow up. You'd often have to switch cars multiple times in a mission just to avoid being killed in a fiery explosion, while GTA 5 kind of made them a little more tanky and less explosion prone. So when there's not much else to do, you might as well see what makes a car blow up. Sometimes they instantly ignite when you shoot the gas cap. Certain games have external gas tanks you can shoot. Others have unique damage modeling, like actually having unique engines in all the cars that you can only see by damaging the hood. We haven't mentioned blown tires yet either. You can wreck a car, but it's more fun to see what kind of damage you can do and still have it keep going. Not just your own vehicle either. Causing big burnout style 40 car pileups is just as fun. Sometimes it'll require a little cheating to pull it off, but you never know. There are some games out there that are pretty much all about this. If you want to see a game with some crazy damage modeling for cars, check out Beaming Drive or BeamNG Drive. I don't really know exactly how to say it, but the car smashing is easily the best in the business, and that's the entire reason to play it. At number 7, combine your powers to do totally crazy stuff. It's pretty rare that they let you go crazy by combining your abilities in a game, but it's just awesome. Probably the biggest game that allows for that kind of experimentation right now is Breath of the Wild. There's just so much unexpected and clever stuff that people in the community have pulled off playing with this game that is totally amazing. Like, there's this one airship trick that involves combining a metal block and a minecart, and then you use the magnet rune and it flies through the air. Other less complex tricks is like tricking an enemy into attacking a cuckoo, which causes a swarm of chickens to attack the enemy instead of you. There are many, many more, of course. There's so many crazy things people have pulled off in this game. It's hard to even list. And these kinds of tricks are possible in other games, but there's no denying Breath of the Wild has some of the best. At number 6, see how angry you can make the NPCs. Like, let's say you're done stalking the NPC. Now what? How about being really annoying instead? Like bump into them, yell at them in games that allow it, even shove them if you think you can get away with it. This is less about killing them and more about just basically being a jerk instead. It's subtler, a little more difficult, and there's always the possibility of provoke them a little too much. They'll pull out a gun and just start blasting. Still, it's fun to see what happens. Sometimes you'll start a fight. Sometimes they'll run away. Sometimes they'll just ignore you totally. And we're not just talking about games like GTA. You can pretty much do this in every game. Some dude is giving you a mission briefing, jump around in front of him. Someone wants to interact with an objective, just ignore it. See how annoyed they can start to get with you. RTS games are some of the old school kings of this kind of thing. Blizzard loves inserting goofy little Easter eggs if you click on a unit too often. Usually they start getting annoyed, like they'll yell at you, then say something weird or dumb, like peons shouting, "Stop poking me!" It was kind of the meme there for a few years. And a lot of RTS games have that kind of stuff, and it's fun to screw around with. There are so many ways to be annoying in a game, so it's fun to be experimenting with that. Just find out how much you can get away with, and also how much the game actually will react to you. It's funny when someone's giving you exposition, you're just ignoring them and playing around, but it's funnier when they get mad. And number 5, when you make all the worst choices on purpose just to see what happens. Like, this is more of an RPG or adventure game thing. For any game that tells you your choices matter, it can be really fun to just find out, how much they really do matter. There's a lot of different versions of this kind of thing. Like in Mass Effect 2, you can get most of your crew killed at the end. Go into it without doing any loyalty missions, spend the entire game just pissing everyone off, and see how badly things can go, which is, to be fair, pretty bad. Or in something like a Telltale game or Life is Strange, you say and do the worst, most inconsistent things imaginable. Can you ruin your relationships and make it so no one trusts or like you? Or do your choices even matter? This is especially fun to do in games where there's lots of QTEs and people can literally die if you screw up too much. So get all the main characters killed as early as possible in Detroit, or just fail a ton of QTEs in an action scene in heavy rain and see your dude slip and slide around like a total idiot. Honestly, this is probably the funniest in the David Cage games because they're super serious tone. Combine that with over-the-top failures and buffoonish pratfalls, and you've got just an absolutely winning formula. It's almost more fun than trying to play the games. And number 4, see if your character does anything when you idle for a really long time. This is an experiment that goes a really long way back. It was fun then, and it's still fun now. Literally anyone can do, just put down the controller, take your hands off the keyboard, and see what happens. In a whole hell of a lot of games, nothing happens. Your dude just stands there blankly for all eternity. But in some, developers had a little fun and made the character, actually do something. One of the earliest examples this can be seen is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. Leave the game idle for a while, and Sonic will get the screen and tap his toe and be like, "Hey, come on, man. We're gonna go." In the later games, like Sonic CD, they took it even further. Like, if you leave Sonic alone too long, he'll just jump off the screen and give you a game over. Then there's Mario taking a nap, Rayman literally playing with, pieces of his body, like a basketball. There's a ton more. Some of the coolest ones come from an unexpected source, too. Metro Last Light. For whatever reason, this game is just filled with funny idle animations. Your main dude just can't stop fiddling with all his stuff when you leave him alone. It's often really funny. Like, he'll break stuff by accident, his finger's stuck, he'll play air guitar. For a guy who doesn't talk, these little animations give him a lot more personality. And it's one thing that's all about seeing the extra effort like a developer put in. It's usually nothing special, but sometimes you'll find something pretty funny. And number 3, see how many bodies you can pile in a tight space, or just how much stuff you can fit in a room in general. Ever since developers started to incorporate physics into their games, players have been testing the limits of what they can get away with. It starts simply enough, it's stuffing too many bodies into dumpsters in games like Dishonored, but that is minor league compared to gigantic piles of stuff that people have accumulated in games like Skyrim. This experiment itself is about as simple as it gets. You get into a closed environment, you start dumping everything from your inventory on the ground. Keep filling that space up until the frame rate starts dropping like crazy or the game crashes. Back when Skyrim first released, it didn't really take a lot to get your computer chugging. But these days, people have been able to pack their houses with thousands and thousands of things. When all the physics objects actually have to interact with each other can send the game into single-digit frame rates, but it's totally possible and hilarious to see when you really go nuts with it. At number 2, get enemies to fight each other. It's nice to see this in video games from time to time. Instead of everyone ganging up on you like usual, the enemies actually get angry at each other and fight it out. It's surprisingly rare in games. Even today, AI is still a tricky subject for a lot of developers, so in a lot of games, it would make sense for there to be 2 enemy groups that fight each other. It's still not a thing that happens. Sure, there are games where infighting is kind of part of the mechanics of the game, like Last of Us, where infected will fight any hunters or enemies around them and trigger them, but that's a little too baked in the game to be fun to screw around with too much. This kind of thing's more fun to do in freeform games like GTA, where it's possible to report crimes in progress, or even on dudes where you are in a firefight with. Cops will arrive at the scene and help you out, even if they're honestly pretty useless. In Prototype, you can get the ability to accuse people of being infected, which, while not that useful in gameplay terms, is kind of amusing to do because soldiers will immediately turn on each other when you do it. Maybe the most classic example of this kind of thing comes from Doom, where if enemies hit each other, they'd sometimes retaliate. Getting enemies grouped up enough, in many cases, they will finish the fight for you. Sometimes it's just fun to just light a match, sit back, see what happens, even if it just reveals how little the AI actually wants to kill anything. And finally, at number 1 is, of course, break the game. Screw up animations, try to clip the camera through your head, general dumb but easy stuff to do to try to break immersion in the game. This is the last resort to the bored gamer. Instead of experimenting to see what the game does, you're just screwing around to find what doesn't work. And I'm not talking about finding speedrun starts and figuring out glitches to access unknown parts of the game world or stuff like that. That's legit, it's awesome. We're talking about big brain stuff, like all goofing off. So little glitches that anyone can find, like jamming on the keys to screw up animations, or trying to see inside your head, walking into a wall, spinning the camera, clips through your character model. Simple, dumb stuff like that, which isn't supposed to happen. Would probably be more immersive if it didn't, but it does. Probably one of the easiest things to do is just spin in place. Depending on the game, it can look absolutely ridiculous how fast your dude can spin. More recent games have actual turning animations, so it doesn't always look as bad, but you can still get some funny results without a lot of effort. Here's a surprising thing I found when I was trying to do this. There's a game where developers actually account for the player spinning in place. In Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, if you spin around too quickly, Lightning will actually get dizzy. There are so many things you can do to break the immersion of games, so this is only a drop in the bucket of things we could go into. Video games are perfect playgrounds to screw around in, and sometimes it's more fun when you're doing it in opposition to the developer's intentions rather than with them. And hell, sometimes a game will surprise you when they actually do expect this stuff. That's all for today, though. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. See you next time, right here on gameranx.